consider being deaf a disability?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I would consider it, yes, being a disability.
Okay, my name is Ben Cahoon, and we were introduced to deaf culture really when we found out our new little baby Emily was deaf. They have a little screening that you go through in the hospital, and so very quickly you find out that she had a problem with her hearing. And it turns out Emily is profoundly deaf. Is Emily disabled, or do we view deafness as disabled? I don't think so. I think if you're deaf and you only speak sign language, life is harder, right? Because you have to interact every day with hearing people. With the cochlear implant, though, Emily's life is pretty much what we would, as hearing people consider normal. She has relationships with anyone she wants to talk to. She dances. She's a 4.0 student. She does well in school. Now, that's not to say she doesn't face challenges every day.
Okay, so I'm Emily Cahoon, and I'm 17. I was born deaf, and I got a cochlear implant when I was 18 months old. I went to speech therapy for 5 years, and I don't consider being deaf a disability. I don't like being called disabled. I can do anything a hearing person does. The only thing I can't do is hear, but I have a cochlear implant, so I can hear. So it's harder to hear, but I can do anything a hearing person can do. So I definitely don't consider myself disabled at all.
When I was 7 years old, I went with my siblings down the street to a park for a church summer party. And at the party, we had there was a yellow slip and slide, the kind you spray the hose on, get it all wet, and just go sliding down it. And I thought I was going to be really cool and pretend that I was surfing. So my time came after waiting in the line, and I ran as fast as I could and jumped on the slip and slide on my feet and was sliding down looking really cool. And then I lost my balance and fell backwards and hit my head on the ground really hard. And when I sat up, I was kind of dazed and water in my ears, couldn't hear too well. It didn't feel very good. So I ended up going home from the party. And that night, I went to sleep, and then the next morning, when I woke up, I couldn't hear out of either one of my ears. And so overnight, I basically lost all my hearing. When I was in that position, what I didn't understand about deaf community is that there really is a sense of community there, and primarily comes through their language. And I don't think most deaf people really consider deafness to be a disability. It just means that they have a different way of communicating with each other. There's one thing that they can't do here, but they can do everything else. And I think for the most part that's totally true. And as an outsider, which I feel like I used to be, but not so much anymore, it's really this seeing deafness as, well, there's something wrong with you, there's a disability there. But I think really what it is it's a different way of living. It's a different kind of culture and community. They have with their own full, unique language that allows them to communicate just as effectively as anyone else. It's a foreign language. It really is.
I consider myself both deaf and hearing, but mostly hearing because for the majority I am hearing, but there are certain situations where I can be hard of hearing and also deaf. I think I live in both the hearing world and the deaf world, but I live more in the hearing world.
So it is a disability in some ways because I just don't hear the way people do who don't have a hearing disability, and I think it's a disability. But on the other side, does it really make a big difference in my life? Not so much. With my hearing aid, I hear pretty darn well, and I have to ask people to speak up sometimes, but that's not really a big challenge for them or for me. I just have to say what, or ask them to speak a little louder, or face me when they're talking, and then things work out okay. So it's a disability in some ways, but it's one that I think you can overcome with just a little bit of extra effort.
I do like listening to music, but I don't listen to it as much as like a hearing person would. Like when I get in the car and drive, I don't turn on the radio. And I don't listen to music because I can't hear the lyrics. If I look up the lyrics online and I memorize them, then I'm able to enjoy music and sing along with it. But like at high school dances, when they're playing songs and I don't know them and everyone's singing along and I don't know the lyrics, that can be really hard. So I don't prefer listening to music, but because I just don't know the lyrics.
Yeah.
Things that I wish that I could do, I would have loved to have been an airplane pilot. I've always loved airplanes, and not being able to hear well and having a hearing disability was an issue that just I couldn't probably get through the pilot training program with the communicating by the the radio that they use. I just can't understand that speech that comes through with so much static. It just makes no sense to me at all. So that's kind of a little dream I had that I just had to give up early on, and it's part of life, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Good job. Very good. Very good. Mama's turn. Good job.
That's good.
I think there's been times where I felt like I've felt bad about being deaf, but then I remember that I have a cochlear implant and that my life is easier because of that, and I just try to remember that people can understand that I am deaf. Okay, so it can be really hard because a lot of people don't know that I'm deaf because I speak so well, and if my hair is down, then they can't see my cochlear implant. So I kind of wish that a lot of people knew that I was deaf, so then I wouldn't have those awkward moments when the person's like, "Hey, why can't she understand me?"
Do you have a sheep?
A sheep.
Give it to mommy. Give it to mommy. You have a sheep.
I have a sheep.
Give it to mommy.
Dad, you say me?
Bye.
Thank you.
Excuse Sherry.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Shoot.
Okay.
I think just whenever I can't understand, and I've asked what so many times that it just awkward, I'm like, why can't I just understand them? And I kind of get frustrated and kind of mad about that.